For most of modern history, rivers have been treated as objects. They are mapped, diverted, dammed, and regulated. They are measured in flow rates and economic value. They are spoken about as resources or infrastructure. This way of seeing rivers feels normal, but it is relatively new. In older cultures, rivers were understood differently. They were forces with character and presence. They shaped land and life and were treated with caution and respect. Over time, this relationship changed. Industrial society replaced relationship with control. Rivers became tools for transport, power, and waste. This shift was not only practical but conceptual. Language changed. Law changed. Rivers stopped being something humans lived with and became something humans owned. Once a river is treated as property, harm to it becomes secondary. Damage is evaluated by cost, not by loss of life or balance. Today, the consequences of this worldview are visible everywhere. Rivers are fragmented by dams, polluted by industry, drained by overuse, altered by climate change. Systems that once sustained ecosystems and communities now struggle to survive. Floods, droughts, and collapses are no longer rare events. A different idea has begun to emerge. What if a river is not an object but a living system? Not alive in a metaphorical sense, but alive as something that moves, adapts, supports life, and responds to change. From this perspective, a river is not passive. It acts, shapes, and connects. This idea has moved beyond philosophy into law. In some places, rivers have been granted legal rights. This means a river can be represented in court. Harm to the river can be addressed directly. Protection becomes an obligation rather than an optional choice. When a river has rights, decisions change. Development projects are evaluated differently. Long-term health matters more than short-term gain. Restoration is no longer charity. It becomes responsibility. Guardians speak not for profit or convenience, but for the river itself. This approach challenges familiar assumptions. Critics argue that nature cannot have rights. But rights are not biological facts. They are tools societies use to organize responsibility. Corporations have legal personhood without being human. Rivers receiving rights follows the same logic. Seeing rivers as living systems also changes how people think. Language matters. When a river is described as a resource, it invites extraction. When it is described as a living system, it invites care. Words shape attention. Attention shapes action. This perspective does not deny human needs. Rivers can still provide water, energy, and transport. The difference lies in limits. Use becomes balanced with survival. Control becomes stewardship. Relationship replaces domination. Environmental crisis is often framed as a technical problem. Better technology, better regulation, better planning. But beneath these solutions lies a deeper issue. How humans understand their place in the natural world. If nature is inert, then exploitation feels justified. If nature is alive, then harm feels personal. Recognizing rivers as living systems expands moral responsibility. It shifts the question. Not why should a river be protected, but why should it be harmed? The burden of justification moves from conservation to destruction. This shift does not guarantee protection. Laws can be ignored. Rights can be undermined. But narratives matter. How societies tell stories about rivers influences how they act toward them. At its core, this is not only about rivers. It is about relationship. Humans are not outside natural systems. They are part of them. Rivers flow through landscapes and through human history. They connect mountains, cities, and seas. They carry memory, change, and consequence. To ask whether a river is alive is to ask how humans choose to live with the world that sustains them. The answer shapes law, language, and future outcomes. Treating rivers as alive does not require mysticism. It requires recognition of interdependence. When rivers are treated as living systems, protection becomes justice rather than charity. Care becomes obligation rather than option. And coexistence becomes possible where control once dominated.